joining us tonight live. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So I just want to double check that you guys can see. My screen. Again, thank you for your patience tonight. I hope all goes well with the live streaming. Okay, cool. I think we are live on Facebook. So beautiful. All right, for those of you that are joining me, just bear with me. I'm trying to get the right screen up. Share. Okay. Now, for those of you, again, that are live, can you just pop a comment in the chat box for me and just say, asking Nikki from Nelson Bay, welcome. Bianca from Melbourne, welcome. Christine from Brisbane, welcome. Carol, online personal trainer, amazing. Carol, welcome. Where are you dialing in from? I would love to hear from you. So again, thank you so much for everyone that has joined me tonight. And if you can even pop in the comment section of, what you're actually hoping to achieve from attending tonight's webinar, because my goal is to make it relevant for you guys. Are you in business? Are you looking to improve on your finances? Are you looking to get your life itself in order? Are you looking for more energy? What is it that you are actually looking for in life itself at the moment? And it can be, there's no right or wrong answers. It can be completely different for absolutely everybody. And for some people, it's just, trying to find some form of direction or trying to get, one thing or another on track. So again, thank you so much if you are joining me live, and sing out if you've got any questions, and I'll try and answer them towards the end of tonight's webinar. So again, thanks for joining me. My name is Julie Thompson. I'm an international trainer of neuro-linguistic programming. I'm also an international business coach and life coach. And I work with people across the globe in business mostly. I work with a lot of fitness business owners and a lot of multi-level marketers, a lot of people that are in finance, and I also work with a lot of coaches. So what we do through, I run international NLP training certifications, and we train coaches to then coach other people. And so I coach a lot of those coaches as well. And it's a really interesting, I absolutely love what I do. And the beauty about it is I get to work with people in all walks of life, in multiple cities and countries and different demographic areas. And so, there's still patterns. It doesn't matter which city you live in or what you do for a living. Humans in general and people in general, we all go through the same experiences at one point or another in life. So, my goal is to share as much of my knowledge and wisdom with you as much as I can. So Nikki's saying more energy and to stay motivated. I know all the right things, but cannot seem to stick to them in my own life. Nikki, thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm actually going to touch base on that, because that's something that comes up a lot for us in coaching, where, when I'm coaching with people, they say, I know all this stuff, I know what I should be doing, but they're not doing it. And there's, there's definite reasons why people don't do what they know they should be doing. And sometimes it can be, we're avoiding things, or we don't want to look at certain things, or we know we should, but the motivation's not there. And sometimes there can be underlying issues that stops that level of motivation. Or there could be our unconscious mind could be sabotaging us, because what we want to be achieving could be associated to a different belief system, or we can be associated with different things. And sometimes those things are outside of our conscious awareness. So, again, if you've got any questions as I go through tonight's webinar, please just pop a comment in the chat box, and I'll try and answer them either as we go or towards the end of tonight's webinar. So just seeing if I can change my screen here. Obviously I can't. Here we go. Yes. Okay, so changing the slide. So what is success? Now, here's an interesting thing, because success means something different to everybody. So success can mean multiple things. And, for me, success is about having wholeness in all areas of life. And what I mean by that is to start off with, and excuse me if I clear my throat throughout, I've just come off the back end of being quite sick last week. So, is knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and being committed to your continuous personal growth. Now, that's crucial for a lot of people in all areas of life, is knowing what your strengths are and how you can capitalize on them, and also knowing what your weaknesses are. And rather than, giving yourself a hard time because you have weaknesses, is understanding that not everybody's great at certain things. And sometimes it's part of your natural personality type to be better at certain areas than others. And then, in business, it's about identifying what are your weakness areas and what are your strengths, so you can then capitalize your time and spend your time in your areas of genius and onboard people to take on board the things that you're not so great at. So having strengths and weaknesses, being able to identify what they are, and being committed to your personal development in each of those areas. So if there are weaknesses that you know of that are in your level of awareness, how can you get better at those things? Or how can you find people to add to your team that can, really shine in those areas where you fall short? And also knowing how to connect with other people and identify and support them in their strengths and weaknesses. And that's one thing that we learn through neurolinguistic programming, is how to identify what are other people's strengths and how can we capitalize on that. And, it comes in handy also to know what are other people's weaknesses, but not seeing it as a weakness, but understanding it's part of who they are as people and accepting those things about them and being able to support them in those areas. Also, success is being able to look back on your mistakes from the past and take the positive learnings and lessons from those. So what happens in a lot of people in business or in relationships or in life itself, we make a mistake, and many people dwell on the past, or they take that mistake as if they attach a belief system to making that mistake, thinking, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. And in actual fact, it's, we've got to remember the analogy of when we were a baby, we had to first learn how to crawl before we could walk. And when we were learning how to walk, we fell down 100 times. And that's like anything. It's in business, it's in relationships. We can't expect ourselves to be perfect at them the first time round. And so we can look back and go, okay, how can I do that better the next time? What not to do, So definitely being successful is part of being successful, is being able to look at the past and taking positive lessons and learnings from those mistakes and not sitting there and beating yourself up about them. And this happens in relationships, and you may know somebody, that's been in a relationship before and had a terrible experience, and then just, absolutely cut themselves off from going into another love relationship. And, many people who've been burnt in relationships, in that, they stay in that lesson for such a long time and thinking of not wanting to move forward. And in actual fact, it's just taking the lessons. So if any of this is resonating as well, please, just share your experiences, or saying yes if it does make sense to you. Also, being clear on your direction and how to articulate your message to others. Now, this is crucial for a lot of people, whether you're in business, whether you're in relationships, even in your finances, or whether you're working with other people, is being very clear on what your intentions are and what your directions are, and knowing how to articulate that in such a way that the other person can learn. And this is where understanding other people comes in very handy, is sometimes we can articulate a message to somebody, but the message is not responding with them, or it's not being communicated effectively to them. So, people take our messages incorrectly all the time. And so it's learning how to articulate our message quite clearly to another person, so they're understanding what we're trying to say. And it's also about feeling aligned. So when you feel in alignment spiritually with yourself, in alignment with your relationships, in alignment with your social networks, your health and your finances usually are a direct reflection of this. So for most people, if you are, if you've had financial trouble, for a long time in life, or if your relationships have always not been great for a long time in life, or your social circles are not supporting you, it's basically that you're out of alignment. So it's about finding who you truly are as a person, and increasing those things around you. So finding the supportive networks and being in the right relationships, to support that, and having the right people on your team that are going to support you through that. And again, everything works in unison. So you've probably heard the term before, how you do one thing is how you do everything in life. And it's quite common that you will see when somebody is struggling in one area of life, they're actually struggling in a lot of other areas. I mean, you can't expect to have a successful business and then go home to a relationship that's falling apart, because you're going to bring that energy into the business, and vice versa. If you've got a business that's falling apart, you're bringing that energy back home into a relationship, and therefore the relationship's going to take that brunt as well. So being in alignment truly is the magic recipe to true success, is trying to align all areas of your life. And again, we go back to clarity. So having clarity on the steps and the resources you need to take to go to the next level. So clarity is crucial. And this is why people do visualizations. This is why people do planning, is because the clearer you are on your goals, the easier it is to take those next steps, but also to identify what resources you need, or which experts or which people you need to engage to help you get there to the next level. And if you are in business and you're watching this, or if you're, in any area of life that you're struggling with, ask yourself the question, do you have absolute clarity on where you want to take it? Are you quite clear on the direction that you want to be taking your business? Or are you quite clear on the direction that your relationship is going? Or are you clear on your finances? And a lot of people that do have financial difficulties, a lot of people, when you ask them about their financial state, a lot of people just bury their head in the sand and they go, I couldn't tell you if I'm going broke or not. And that's because, money is a pain point for people. And so when somebody is struggling financially, generally they don't want to look at the problem. Therefore, they're not tracking anything. There's absolutely no clarity on exactly how bad the problem is and how they're going to get out of it. So having clarity on those things is really going to help you. Also, success is being able to navigate challenges easily and effortlessly. And the way that we can do that is by having behavioral flexibility. So I'm just going to take a sip of water. So it's about, excuse me, having behavioral flexibility and having a great attitude towards those things, because challenges and obstacles are guaranteed in life. There's, we're always going to come across challenges in business, challenges in relationships, challenges in family units. But by having behavioral flexibility and, being in alignment with our values and what we actually want from having those things in our life, it's going to help us now navigate those challenges quite easily and effortlessly by being flexible in the way that we approach things. And, the coronavirus, for instance, so many people had to quickly become very flexible overnight to transform their businesses or to transform what they were doing in order to keep operating, because of the way that the COVID put those, all of the challenges in front of people. So, we had to adapt very quickly and become quite flexible in that situation. And it was actually a huge, it was a huge success to see so many people actually take it on board and be able to navigate it as well as they did. And social networks. So being successful is having your social networks, your family and your friends that are supportive of your growth and development. And now this is crucial, and you've probably heard a lot of people say this in the past, is your environment is going to really be a direct reflection of who you become. So they say that we become like the top 5 people that we hang around. And if your family or your friends or your social networks are not supporting your dream, then I highly encourage you to start expanding your networks. Start finding the people that, that already have the things that you want, or that are doing the things that you want to be doing. Because, number one is success leaves clues. And number 2 is people who are quite successful in their fields are generally more than happy to help you find the direction to go there. So they're usually there with a helping hand. And you'll find that, the people who aren't where you want to be, are the ones trying to pull you back or give you all the self-doubt and the limiting beliefs like, oh, you can't do this, oh, it's risky and all this sort of stuff. So ensuring that your social networks, your family and your friends are really encouraging your growth and your development. And again, knowing how to engage the right skill sets of other people to help you achieve your goals. So this is another thing that we learn through neuro-linguistic programming. You learn personality profiling. So you actually learn other people. You learn how people think and how they operate. And by having that knowledge, you're really able to identify key skill sets in people, so you're able to identify what those people are going to be great at and how they can really add value to you and your team. So, and another one is your energy level. So I think one of the ladies was just mentioning this as well, is your energy levels and your health and wellness should support your goals. So, and it's funny I'm saying this because I've just come off the back end of being sick. And this is an interesting thing because generally when you are in true alignment, when you've got your, I guess, when you have success, when you've got everything in alignment and your time, you manage your time efficiently and effectively, you've got the right key players on your team, your finances are doing great, you're in a great relationship, and therefore your energy levels are generally up to speed and they will support you with your goals. And the reason why I'm, just come off the back end of being sick is because I crammed my schedule, and normally I'm very articulate with the way that I manage my time, and I know how to manage my health and my wellness to support my schedule. And just the last 2.5 weeks, I had 2.5 weeks of training, which was based on US time zones. So I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning and had to cram my schedule till 8 p.m. And therefore I didn't have my regular rituals going on. And therefore, after 2.5 weeks of doing that solid, my immune system then went down and obviously gave in and I got sick. And so when you manage your time efficiently and effectively, time management is part of your success. And then you're supporting your energy levels and your health and your wellness to support those goals. So I hope that, provides a bit of clarity around those things. So when it comes to wealth, see, when we talk about success, most people talk about wealth. And I really wanted to share some, a little bit of insight with you. So some people say it's not about the money. And the interesting part is, money, it doesn't bring happiness, but what money can do for ourselves and our families certainly can increase our levels of happiness. Now, some interesting statistics is 1% of the world's population own 38% of the world's wealth. And so what that means is these are the super rich people, and they're the 1% people in the world. They own 30% of the wealth. And then 5% of the people are what we call the wealthy people, and they own 65% of the world's wealth. Now, the next guys, these guys here are sort of the delegators. They're in business, they're doing okay. They're not super wealthy, but they know their stuff. That they represent about 10% of the population, and they own about 70% of the world's wealth. Now, the interesting thing here, the lowest ranking is these two columns here. So this is your 30% of people who are self-employed and 48% of people who are employed. So this makes up 78% of the world's population. But this is only where 22% of the world's wealth actually comes from. And in Australia at the moment, we've got, I think, 7.4% of people who are unemployed. And then 0.2% of people in the world are sort of, suicidal or severely depressed. Now, I mention this because an interesting thing here is, and I really wanted to highlight this for you guys, is, nearly 420,000 people that are in problem debt attempt suicide each year in the UK alone. Now, this is where when people say it's not about the money, when people have money problems, it causes problems in all areas of life. I mean, it causes problems in marriages, it causes problems in businesses, it causes problems in, the schools and the food that you put on the table and schools that you put your children into. So, people stay in unhappy relationships because of money. People stay tied to jobs because of money. People go and work jobs that they hate because of money. And so money really is it's a massive part of our life. And like it or not, we need to know how to create it for ourselves. And we need to, create money in a way that we enjoy creating it, because otherwise we are literally like, what's the word? We're spending our whole entire life doing things that we don't enjoy doing. Interestingly enough, I'm going to talk to you about coaching very shortly, but in 2017, and there's no current statistics on this, but there's approximately 53,000 coaches operating worldwide. Now that's business coaches, life coaches, financial coaches. Now that doesn't seem a lot when you can see how many people are in, problem debt. So we are understaffed in the coaching realm to handle the world's problems when it comes to, being stuck in these areas. And, obviously the coaching industry is a hugely expanding industry. Last year, only 15% of Australians actually sought professional financial advice. And out of that, 92% of those were aged between 55 and 64. So they were just on approaching retirement. So what does that mean? That means that basically, this here is representing 78% of the population. Now, this is, 48% of the population. This is the people that are going to work every day, and most of them are going to jobs that they really don't enjoy going to. And then there's 30% of people that are in business. They're working for themselves, and most of them are married to their jobs, and they don't know how to scale and leverage the business. And so what that means is, at the end of the day, they're burning out, their health is taking a tumble, they're basically dragging home whatever is left of themselves back to the family or to the relationship, and they're really on struggle street. They haven't worked out how to actually leverage themselves and start living here where these 10% people are. This is taking a big leap. And that's where we sort of what I do in coaching is I try and get these people here who are self-employed to actually take the leap and start leveraging themselves. So here's a couple of challenges that you face. So if you're employed, and now given the current situation with COVID, you're probably thinking, yes, I have a job. And so some people are probably thinking themselves quite lucky if they do have a job at the moment. And, the challenge with a job is you're always doing your best and you're making money for somebody else, and you hate getting up on Mondays. So, you're always complaining about your job. You're stuck there, you're 9 to 5, or, you could be a shift worker, but you do your best in your job and you're making somebody else the money, and it doesn't matter how hard you work in that job, unless you're on commission based, then, you are only worth so much per hour, and you only have so much time that you can trade. Another problem, and this is, for a lot of people in life, is they're a yes person. They just want to help everybody. They love helping everybody, and they put everybody else's needs before their own. And if you're a parent and you're watching this, you will probably agree with that. Being a yes person, and it's lovely to want to help other people, but like they say on the aircraft, is you need to put your own mask on before you can help others, and we can't fill from an empty cup. So that's the message is, when you're a yes person, what tends to happen is, and this is the life coaching that I do, I've worked with a lot of people, and most people come usually sort of in their early to mid 40s, and we get a lot of women, especially in that area, and they go, I don't know how I ended up here, and this is my life, and I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing. There's no purpose. There's no nothing. And what's happened is that person has become a parent, so many 10, 15 years ago, and given their whole entire life to somebody else and serving absolutely everybody, not even recognizing that they need things too, and just putting themselves absolutely last, and then waking up one day and just going, how on earth did I get here? Where's me in all of this stuff? And, the other challenge of being self-employed is, yes, you are your own boss, which is great, but you don't get paid for holidays, and you're overworked and you're burnt out. So, many people, and this is so many business owners are in this space, they are self-employed, they are their own boss, but most of them work hours that you wouldn't even imagine. I mean, when you work for another company, you probably do 8 to 12-hour days. When you're working for yourself, especially when you're self-employed, you wear all the hats. You're the accountant, you're the marketing expert, you're the customer service representative. You do all the different roles in the job, and then you go home at night, and then you're doing everything else, all the little things that that get done usually by the other team members. And so generally you're married to your job, and you're absolutely overworked and you're burnt out. And the best part is, when you actually become a delegator, is that's when you're learning new skill sets. You're learning how to find other key players to help you build a successful team. And that's where you can really leverage. So when you want a successful business, you have to be prepared to engage a team of people and work out what the strengths and weaknesses are of those people, so you can put the right bums on the right seats in the business. And this is something that Richard Branson is amazing at. He is one of the best in the world at finding the right people for the right roles. And and that's where you can, if you're really struggling with this, if you are in a business and you've got people working under you, then I would highly recommend bring in an expert to fine tune who those people are. And a lot of the bigger companies do that. They engage companies that are, people management, and so they get to understand people's personalities and what their key skill sets are, and then they shift them into the right roles, and before you know it, the business becomes, quite successful. And a sign of companies that don't do that is a sign of, when there's always HR issues or people hate their jobs. So if you're if you are an employee and you don't like your job, or if you got friends or family members that don't like their job, chances are they're working for companies that don't have this skill set. They haven't engaged a professional to find the key skills of those people. So here's an idea, is forget everything that you currently know. And the reason why I say this is because what we were taught in the school system was designed in the Industrial Revolution. And so because of that, the school system was designed to create workers. And as sad as it sounds, that's exactly what we were taught. We were taught how to follow orders and how to get jobs. And so that's basically, when you think about, our mind is a programming machine. We were programmed from such an early age to learn how to follow orders and follow the system and to just get a job and climb the ranks. So that's what we were pretty much trained from a very early age of what to do. And so we were never taught about actual life skills. We weren't taught how to clearly communicate with people, how to effectively express ourselves. We weren't taught how to build teams. We weren't taught how to build businesses. And so we really need to work out, how to be successful at this. And if you're somebody who's just starting out in business, I think that you're in a great position, by the way, because this is where you get to build a business to support the life that you'd like to live. And, the unfortunate thing for some people who are already in business have built a machine of a business that they basically feel like there's no way out of there. And so, if you are new in business, you're in a great position at the moment. So, the first thing is work out, what are your actual life goals? What level of energy are you giving to each of the areas of your life? And I ask you to be honest in this part of the, this web class is, if you've got a pen and paper, or even if you can just think about it, I'd like you to think about, how do you show up in business? And, if you are in business or in the workplace, how do you show up? And what score would you give that, as a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10? And, then I ask you to have a look at your family life and ask yourself, what level do you show up in that area of your life? Is that area a 10 out of 10, or is it a 2 or a 3 out of 10? And then have a look at your finances and give yourself a score out of 10. How do you feel your finances are showing up at the moment? And then I ask you, with your health and wellness, how is that area of your life showing up for you at the moment? And then I ask you for your spiritual self, like how in tune, how do you score yourself of how well you know yourself? And then, your contribution and giving back to the community, how would you score that area of your life? And, the reason why I ask these questions is, one thing that I do with my clients is I get them to do the life balance wheel and actually identify each of the areas. And the reason being is because generally, if most parents, the family area will be 10 out of 10, but their health is on the back burner, their finances are out of control, and the relationship hasn't been nourished or flourished for a while. And people who are in business, usually the business part is a 10 out of 10, but then every other area of their life is struggling. And so what we tend to do is, when we are out of alignment with things, is there's no balance. There's, we're great in 1 or 2 areas of life, but all the rest of the areas are actually taking the brunt of that. So when I ask, what are your life goals? And this is where, again, if you're new into business, this is perfect, because you get to, think of creating a business to support the life that you want to create. And that's what I do with my customers, my clients, is basically we look at, you know, how can they create a business model that's going to support the life of their dreams, not, you know, create a business that's going to actually suck the life out of them, and that they'd be married to it for the rest of their life. So it's knowing how to create a business that's literally going to support the lifestyle that you really do dream of. And, you know, how are you communicating? So that's an interesting question, is what message are you sending out to yourself and to others? And this is where this is crucial, because a lot of people, when we talk about communication, self-talk is very huge. And you've probably heard, if you've done any form of personal development before, is, you know, doing the affirmations of the I am statements. And what people don't realize is they are constantly saying, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to do this, I'm fat, I'm, you know, I'm not worthy, and, you know, I don't know what I'm doing, or I can't do this. And so when they're saying that they can't, they're communicating that dialogue to themselves. And then the unconscious mind downloads that as a belief system that you just can't do it and you're not good enough. And so I ask the question is, you know, what message are you communicating to yourself? How do you talk to yourself? And how do you express yourself to others as well? So you need to show up and become the person that is going to be successful, or that already has success. When you show up in that way, when you show up to yourself that you are already successful, and you show up to other people that you are already successful, you communicate a very clear message that demands respect, that demands positive communication, that demands, you know, that level of ecology, that win-win solution. So it's how you communicate to yourself and to others is crucial. And knowing your purpose. So before you can become excellent, you must first know yourself and who you truly are as a person. And this is something that we don't get taught in school. And it's something that when people are so busy in life, they go, I don't know who I am, you know. And, you know, we kind of get sort of, you know, washed into a life at such an early age that, you know, that's why people work in jobs that they don't enjoy, because they're becoming a doctor or an accountant because it was somebody else's dream for them. It wasn't their own dream. And, you know, the same in, you know, a lot of relationships, you know, a lot of people go into a relationship because it was the right thing to do, or because it was what everybody else wanted, or it seemed like the right thing to do. And so when we truly get to know who we truly are as people, that's when you will be able to fully express your genius zone and become excellent. And, you know, I say that not lightly. I truly say that not lightly, is knowing who you are as a person, knowing what your purpose is, because the more you understand about yourself, the more you can tap into your genius, and the more everything will just start to flow in life. And if you really want to connect and get to know who you are as a person, that's what we do brilliantly. That's what we do, through NLP trainings, is we help you connect to who you truly are as a person, and help you discover your genius zones, discover your talents, discover who you truly are and what are your true values, and then how you can develop on those. And obviously the next step is to develop yourself. So, when you discover yourself and then develop yourself, it's not like you're trying to layer on all this knowledge onto an unsteady foundation of who am I anyway. It's like you're developing on a whole nother realm, a whole nother, it's a whole nother stratosphere, basically. When you discover who you truly are and what your genius zone is, and then you apply personal development to that, that's where your genius zone can really totally shine. Excuse me. So reaching your goals. So again, to reach your goals, it's about having that super clear direction on what you want and what knowledge, tools, or resources that you need to get there. So this week I was working with a client who's just about to launch a new business. And we were working out what her launch budget was going to be, and we're helping her do a whole entire plan before she actually even commences the work, because she needs to be super clear. You know, so many people go into business without an actual plan. So they have this great idea and they're like, oh, I want to open a restaurant. And so they go into business without an actual, a goal, a clear goal or a clear target. And there's no end date, or there's no, KPIs or structure. They're going into business and that's it. And, and most people have the right intentions when they're going into business, but they just don't have that super clear direction of where they're going. Another one is learning how to effectively track your finances as well as other KPIs. So you can track your finances, you can also track your health, you can also track your relationships, you can track your business success, you can track your activities within your business. So knowing what activities you're doing and how much time each of those activities are taking, and then from there you can basically work out is your time being, getting a great return on investment for your time, and how much time do you spend there? So you can track your time, you can track all sorts of different things. Learning how to effectively track things is what's really going to give you results because it's measurable. Setting specific measurable outcomes and timeframes on all tasks and goals. So it's not just in business, this includes relationships, in rituals, in health. When you can set specific outcomes and specific timeframes for things, and this is a really interesting one, and I'll tell you how to apply this in relationships, for those of you in relationships. So it's interesting how many people I coach that are in relationships, and then they say, oh yeah, but we talk about this all the time, we talk about it, this, nothing ever changes. And it's and if you're in a relationship, you've probably had this going, and some person in the relationship will always bring up the same thing. And the reason why that is because there's no measurability. There's no okay, so this is the plan, what we're both agreeing to, and this is the time frame, and this is going to be the reward or the consequence. And so it's about being able to track and measure everything that we're doing. Same thing in business, it's like you can go, okay, we're going to test and measure this, and we're going to give it 3 months, and if it doesn't work, we're pulling the pin. We're not going to waste our time on this or our resources. So it's being able to clearly track and measure those things. And again, same thing with your health. The clearer the goal is that is identified, the more likely you are to actually achieve it. So, and you've probably heard of The Secret. And what The Secret is based on is having that clear vision, and is about doing visualizations to manifest what you want. And the clearer it is of what you want, the more likely you are to actually align your actions to actually achieve that. And again, identifying your red light and green light areas in your business, in your life. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And what are your limiting beliefs or any negative emotions that are holding you back? And I mention these because limiting beliefs is generally what holds people back from true success. So people can have a great business model, but they have a limiting belief that I can't do this, or I can't make this much money, or I just can't do this. And, that's a limiting belief that really needs to be cleared out, because if you have that limiting belief, you will forever find ways to sabotage your success in your business. And when I mentioned the negative emotions, that's also something that we do in neuro-linguistic programming, is we help people clear those negative emotions, because they do literally hold you back. So, if you, again, I'll talk about relationships. If you had a bad experience in a relationship, and then you are not putting yourself fully into another relationship based on an old pattern, then you're literally stopping yourself. You're sabotaging yourself from having a truly great relationship with another person, because you're basing your emotions on something that's happened in the past. This is the same thing in business. Some of you may know people that have been in business before, and they've tried it and they've failed miserably, they've lost money, and then they're like, no, I'm never doing that again. And this happens to a lot of people. They're like, I'm not doing that ever again. And it's almost like, driving down the highway and getting a flat tire in your car, and then slashing all the other tires and going, yeah, no, we could get another flat. And so you're just going to unpack and stay there. So when you're able to clear out your negative emotions and your limiting beliefs that are holding you back, that's when you become fully empowered to move forward without those hesitations. So I really ask you to ask yourself the question and be honest with yourself. What is it that's actually holding you back? Are you being held back in business? Are you being held back in relationships? Do you have limiting beliefs around money? If any of this stuff is resonating with you, please reach out, because this is what we can actually help you with. So tracking your progress. So celebrate your progress. And this is huge. And I really encourage you guys to do this. If you are, in business and you've had great success, but you haven't actually taken the time to stop and acknowledge, I really invite you to start. This is where tracking is great, because when we track with clients with business is we set targets, but we also set a reward. So when they hit that target, they give themselves a reward to actually acknowledge that. And, you know, one of the clients that I've been coaching fairly recently, you know, she's quite successful in business, but she was saying that she just feels like she's just going. And, you know, it doesn't feel like she's getting anywhere. I said, and then when she was telling me about her progress, you know, she's been great in business. She's been super successful in business, but she has never given herself the chance to stop and recognize it and celebrate the fact. And because of that, you know, it just feels like you're just, you know, you're forever moving forward, but you're not stopping to recognize exactly why. And this happens to so many people in business, is they just keep working, and it's got to be the next goal. And you will literally just work yourself into the ground if you don't stop and take a moment to celebrate that win and remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. So I really encourage you to stop, take a moment, recognize how far you've come, and acknowledge your wins. Set yourself targets, give yourself rewards. Plan your goals. So this is crucial. So bucket lists and vision boards are very useful to identify what you actually want. So some people in business, and you know, I've had this experience myself in multiple businesses, is we want to serve everybody and we want to help everyone, and we just want, you know, we want to provide all the services. And, you know, it's about really having a bucket list of, you know, what we want in our life, but also, you know, a vision board with the business and a vision board with the actual our lifestyle. Because what that's going to stop us from doing is, you know, jumping off course and you know, following a shiny object for a little while and getting off track. And you know, there's so many people out there that are those people that are just, you know, really creative and spontaneous, and they are very easily off, you know, guided off track. But then because they've got their hands in everything, they're never actually reaching that goal. So keeping a very clear plan will definitely help keep you on track. And this one here, I find this one's crucial, is onboarding a coach. So reach out to a coach that is an expert in the area that you wish to improve. So if you are looking at improving your finances, talk to a financial expert. If you're looking at, you know, improving your business, onboard a business coach. And if you are, you know, struggling in your relationship and you really want to help the relationship along, onboard a relationship coach. Again, with your health and fitness, if your health and fitness isn't where it needs to be, speak to an expert in that area. You know, coaches are actual professionals in their field. They know what they're talking about, and they are the right people to be getting the advice from, not the next door neighbor or Bob down the road or the hairdresser or the butcher or whoever you may have been talking to. Is invest in yourself, invest in the money into the experts. You may not find the right coach the first time, but definitely invest in a coach, because coaches will help you. And, you know, sometimes you may need, you know, 2 or 3 coaches. And for me personally, I've worked with 4 coaches over the last 4 years, and I've even worked with coaches simultaneously, because not every coach knows everything. And so sometimes you need to take a little bit from that one and a little bit from that one and then make it your own. And excuse me, and it's about becoming the person. So your mindset controls absolutely everything that you do. And I say this not so lightly, is your mindset is king. You know, the words that you wake up to each day in your mind is going to be pretty much the level of your life. If you wake up every morning and the first words you say to yourself is, oh my God, I'm so tired, or oh gosh, another day at the office. If you're saying that to yourself, that's going to be the momentum that you're pushing forward through for your day. And, you know, you might be sitting there saying, well, how do I get around that? And that's where it's really, you know, I highly encourage you to speak to a coach or get on board a life coach, because it's about, you know, becoming in alignment with working out who you truly are as a person and what it is that you actually are great at, where you shine, what's your genius zone, what do you love to do, and how can you do more of those things, and how can you monetize that stuff without, you know, going somewhere because you feel like you need to. You don't want to have to show up just because you have to. You want to show up in a way where you wake up each morning and saying, yes, it's Monday. You know, that's the energy that you want to come into each day with, is just like, you want to jump out of bed. Like, you know, some people, and, you know, I'm one of the crazy ones where literally in the mornings I jump out of bed with so much passion and fire and excitement to literally get rolling with my day, because I love what I do. And if you don't have that level of passion or intensity or energy in life itself, please come and talk to me, because I will help you, like, pull it to pieces and work out, okay, what do we need to improve on? Where? Why are we doing the things that we're doing? Your mindset controls absolutely everything that you do. And I'll say one thing is, our mind is processing 128 bits of information per second, and you need to guard that like a soldier. You need to guard those thoughts, because if you don't, then they will control you. And so direction, you're probably thinking, so where do I start? Where do I actually start? And this could be you. You could be like, I feel like I'm doing everything but getting nowhere. There's no clarity or direction. And if that's where you are, again, reach out. I'm more than happy to jump on a call with you. And this is where it's really about where, if you're in that space, it's about getting yourself a coach, or getting yourself, to really give yourself the time to work out why you're doing the things that you're doing in life. And this is where neurolinguistic programming comes in, quite well, is we do what we call breakthrough sessions with people, and we understand why we are doing the things that we're doing. And it's all based on unconscious programming, the things that we've learned, the environments that we were brought up in, what we were taught, what our current belief systems are. And then so what we've done is we've created a life based around on those beliefs. And so if you're not sure where you're going and you haven't got the actual clarity, please reach out. I'm happy to have a free consult with you. You could be the next person here where it says, I'm working my butt off. I know where I'm heading, but I just can't seem to get there. And again, if that's you, work out, if you know which area you're heading and you seem to be struggling, talk to an expert in that area, because it could just be one little stone that needs turning. That's going to be the difference that makes the difference for you in your business or in your life. So please reach out to an expert. You could be somebody where you're the other person. You said, I've already got a coach. I thought that they would know everything, and I still don't have all the answers. And this is interesting, because I work with a lot of people who do a lot of personal development and who've worked with a lot of coaches, and I work with a lot of coaches as well. And not every coach knows everything, like I was saying before. So, and some coaches out there will also teach you their way of doing things. So they might go, here's the system works, just follow the system. But the system for what? What are they helping you build or create? Now, a great coach is somebody who can modify the system to help you build what's great for you. So, if you're a coach in the industry and you are listening to this, being a great coach is about being able to clearly identify what your package or program involves, and identifying if it is right for that person, and then how can it be adapted and modified to make it, better for that person. So it's always, if it's rigid and there's no room for movement in there, you've got to ask yourself the question, is it for me or is it not for me? And this is where sometimes you might get information from one coach and you might have another coach. And if you're in business and you're talking to your business coach, and your relationship is on the rocks, don't be talking about your relationship to your business coach, because your business coach is not a relationships expert, and vice versa. If you are talking to a relationship expert and your relationship's on the rocks, but you want business advice, they're not the right person to speak to. So, there's experts in their fields, and I highly encourage you to speak to the experts. Get the right advice from the right people. And this other lady, the one who's doing the jumping for joy, she's the one who says she knows how to stay in her lane. She knows what's most important to her, and how she knows what she needs to adopt from who at what time. And that's what I consider as being successful, is knowing how to stay in your lane, for one. And what I mean by that is, there's so much information out there at the moment. People are in business, people are in coaching, people in the health and wellness space, and everyone's competing. And so what happens is everyone's going, okay, well, what's he doing or what's she doing? and oh well, they're telling me to do this, and they're just following orders, and that's programming. We've been programmed, from the system to follow orders, and we need to have that pause response. We need to know ourselves, we need to know our direction, and then we need to be able to look at what information we are being given and how we can adopt it for ourselves. So do we take it all, or do we only need a few chunks out of that thing? And I hope that provides a bit of clarity for you. So when when I'm coaching with my clients, I always say stay in your lane, because they get, oh, but she's doing this and she's doing that. It's like, hang on, what do you want to be doing? Let's focus on you. And so that's, a really, I find that's a really crucial key element in the coaching space. So achieving excellence, and this is, what we talk about in neuro-linguistic program, is actually operating from a state of excellence. And in order to operate from a state of excellence, it's having that conscious awareness. So I spoke of it just before. I did speak about your mind processing 128 bits of information per second. Now, when I say that is, if you don't control your mind, then it will definitely control you. And what I mean by that is, if you find yourself lost in thought, generally you didn't consciously choose to have that thought. It just started happening for you. And so your mind is literally processing 128 bits of information per second. And so if you're sitting there and you're watching the news, and then all of a sudden there's all this negative, horrible stuff coming up in the news, you're going to start buying into that, or you're going to start having an opinion about that. And, all of a sudden you're drawn into something that wasn't part of you. It's the same as, when you're around other people, you've got to be mindful of what conversations are going on in the room at the moment. Is this conductive for me? Is this not conductive for me? Constructive, sorry. And, so constantly being consciously aware of what you're thinking about, your thoughts, your feelings, how are you thinking? What are you processing at the moment? Because the more you can be in control of your unconscious mind and be consciously aware of the things that you're thinking about. Remember when I was talking about the communication, what are you communicating outside of yourself and to yourself? If you find yourself and catch yourself thinking of non-constructive stuff, change your state, change your physiology, start focusing on the things that you actually want to be focusing on. And a way that you can do that is doing a mind audit, where it's basically, every 15 minutes you write down what you're focusing on, and then that will keep you on track. So if you're somebody who has lots of issues, and it's perfectly normal, because, our mind is a program of its own. If you find yourself as somebody who does a lot of daydreaming, or constantly getting lost in thought, or shiny objects and things, set yourself a little mind audit task. Do it for 24 hours or 48 hours and see how you go. Having solid clarity. So seriously, if you want to achieve excellence in business or excellence in relationships, you need to have solid clarity on exactly what you want and exactly what's your non-negotiables. And so by knowing thyself, knowing your direction, and knowing the resources that you need, or knowing how to articulate yourself correctly. And I ask you this question is, if there's things in your life that aren't working for you at the moment in your life or in your business or in your relationship, ask yourself the question, how is that not working for you? Like, how has it come that that's not working for you? And what's the message that you possibly created to create those things for you in your life? So did you have solid clarity going into those things, or are you communicating and articulating yourself well enough to the people around you? So having solid clarity on exactly what you want, and then helping everyone else around you understand that as well. And the third thing is having a rock solid belief system. So you must first believe in yourself before anybody else can. And I really encourage you to invest in yourself, because if you do have limiting beliefs of I'm not good enough, or I could never do that, it's just a limiting belief. That's all it is. It's seriously just a limiting belief that was adopted at some point in your life, and we can literally clear that stuff out. So you need to first believe in yourself before anybody else can. So I really, again, I'll say it again, I can't stress this enough, is invest in yourself. If you're struggling with any limiting beliefs, speak to an expert about that, because there is literally people in the world that can help you with this stuff. So what tools could you use? So I mentioned earlier a mind audit. So if you are somebody that struggles with your mind and your thoughts, and you constantly find yourself falling off the bandwagon or going into like a negative thought process or daydreaming, track your mind. Do it for 24 hours or 42 hours, and simply all it is get yourself a little notepad, and every 15 minutes just write, what am I focusing on? What am I focusing on? What am I focusing on? And you might find that you're actually spending a lot of time focusing on the wrong stuff. And then you can ask yourself, what should I be focusing on, or what would I like to be focusing on? And then you start to change the dialogue. Get in touch with a coach. Again, like I said, I'm more than happy. Anybody who's on here, please reach out if you would love a free consult. I'm more than happy. I'm here to help and serve as many people as possible. So if you're unsure where to start, or if you need some expert advice on anything, you can contact myself. Or if you're looking for another coach, I'm connected with financial experts. I'm connected to relationship experts. I'm connected to health experts, nutritionists. So if you're not sure where to find a great coach, please reach out. I can help you there. Use tracking sheets. So if you are in business, learn to love spreadsheets and track all your essential business activities. So your finances is one of your essential activities. Another one is your time in your business. So, and what I mean by that is, you may find it, and this is, for those of you in small business, you probably find yourself doing a lot of tasks that you're not so great at. And so you might be, really like, let's take a coach, for instance. So some coaches could charge themselves out at $100 an hour, $150 an hour, or $1,000 an hour. But, if they're doing an accounting job, sitting there doing the accounts late at night, that where they could literally pay somebody $30 an hour to do that task, then that means that they're not getting great return on investment for their time. So again, tracking your business activities and what you're doing. And also, if you're making phone calls, or if you're doing marketing, working out what your returns on investments are on those things. So I use tracking sheets with all of my clients, and we track multiple different areas of business. And it's great because you can literally very quickly highlight where there's something that's not working, and then we can go to work and fix that problem. So learning NLP, again, neuro-linguistic programming is basically discovering how to unlock your mind. So learning how it works, and how it's actually programmed, and how you can reprogram it for success. And when I talk about being programmed, for those of you who know a little bit about NLP, or for those of you who know nothing about NLP, basically it's neuro-linguistic programming. It talks about our brain being, it's like our brain is a program, and it works out when we understand how it actually works. Then we learn tools and techniques to basically like hack the system and start training our mind to create the right things that we want to be doing. So, removing limiting beliefs, removing negative emotions, installing positive anchors, installing positive resources. And, the more you learn how to program it, the more successful you can become in a short period of time. Doing a life balance wheel. So again, what I was talking to you guys about before is tracking all of the areas in your life. So have a look at your financial status. Give it a score between 1 and 10. Have a look at your relationship status. Give that a score of 1 to 10. Have a look at your health status. Give that a score between 1 and 10. Have a look at your family unit. Give that a score between 1 and 10. And have a look at your business. Give that a score between 1 and 10. So realistically, I invite you to, have a look at each of those areas and be brutally honest with yourself. And then, work out, what could I do to help increase those scores? What do I need to do? What tasks or actions do I need to do in each of those areas to gradually improve those areas of life? And using a default diary. So that's a really handy one for people who, and this, I hear this all the time, is I don't have time. So utilizing a default diary is schedule your time for your planning, schedule time for tracking, schedule time for personal development, schedule time for your health. Another thing that you can use if you are somebody who struggles with time and says, I honestly don't have time, is I encourage you to use a time audit. So you might like to do it for, 24 or 48 hours, and literally, again, similar to the mind audit, every 15 minutes, track what you're doing with your time. And you'll probably find you're spending a lot of time doing non-productive activities. Or you might find, you know what, I spend 7 hours of my week washing dishes or clothes. And then you might go, well, you know, I can literally pay somebody $20 an hour to do those things for me. So, you know, by using a default diary or a time audit, we literally find chunks of time and go, okay, well, how could I utilize that time better? Or, you know, is that as important as what I want to be achieving? And then so you can literally, again, you can identify where there's areas where you could find more time for things. And most importantly, and this is for, you know, everyone, is plan your holidays. So most people in business, we don't get paid for holidays, but if you don't take holidays and celebrate your wins along the way, you're literally going to hit burnout. So if you don't schedule time to take holidays, again, I say it because I've seen so many people in business burn out, and I'm one of those people. You know, a great friend of mine, you know, literally had 3 strokes and 2 heart attacks because he was in business and never took time out, you know. And it happens more often than what we know. You know, we see CEOs, executives, company directors, you know, going in with heart problems and, you know, having heart attacks and, you know, having high cholesterol. And this is because people just aren't giving themselves the time for relaxation and rest and recovery that we need. So, you know, definitely scheduling time for time out and for holidays is crucial. So let's talk a little bit about NLP. That's what I do. It's neuro-linguistic programming. What could it do for you? It can help you discover your strengths and your weaknesses and help you tap into your genius zone. It helps you with your communication, connecting with other people, learning how they think and finding other people's genius zones and how you can utilize that. It helps you learn valuable, positive learnings and lessons from the past to create new strategies rather than beating yourself up about things that have happened in the past. It really helps you identify key learnings from the past. It helps you gain absolute clarity on your direction, learning great communication skills, helps us to feel aligned spiritually in relationships, social networks. What we do in NLP, like I mentioned, when we do the breakthrough session, is basically we get you back into full alignment with who you truly are and what is your purpose. Knowing how to identify key resources needed to achieve the goals that you need. So that's what we learn at MasterPrac level is we do a lot of personality profiling so you can understand people, you know their niche, you know what you need from other people, and you know how to pinpoint and find those right people that'll help you scale and leverage your business a lot quicker. Learn how to navigate challenges easily, effortlessly, learn how to have behavioral flexibility. Building networks to support your growth and development. So again, with NLP, we teach you how to become fully responsible for the people that are around you in a way where you take the responsibility and you then start to build a very strong support network of people, which again will increase your personal development and growth at a much faster pace. Learning how to identify skill sets to achieve win-win outcomes and achieve the energy levels that you need and the belief systems that you need to adopt to support your dreams and your goals as well. So what I'm going to do, okay, you guys, if you're still on here, who have we got still on this live with us? Oh, hang on a second. I've just stopped sharing. Hang on a second. I'm going to share my screen again. I've got 9 people in the chat. Who have we got here? Okay. Love more energy, looking to change career directions. Yes, I love that. Christine, changing career directions is beautiful. Just make sure you stay stay in control of you know what you actually want. Okay, good. There's a few feedback here. I'm going to actually, sorry, I skipped that screen. I'm going to jump back on because I know that quite a few people entered the prize draw to win a NLP training scholarship with us. So I'm just going to see if I can. Where are we? I'm trying to flip my. Here we go. Okay. So basically, sorry, I was just had trouble trying to change the screen there. So tonight I am actually giving away a free NLP training scholarship. So it's valued at nearly $5,000. So you guys, I had about 30 entrants into the prize draw. So I actually did a random number generator tonight. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to call out the lucky winner, and I'm not too sure if you're online or watching. The the very lucky person that won tonight's prize draw is Kylie Wheatley. And I think Kylie's from Brisbane in Queensland. So I'm not too sure, Kylie, if you're watching live or if you are on the webinar tonight, but you successfully did enter the prize draw. And I know that some of you on the webinar also had trouble entering the prize draw. So I actually added your names in there. So Christine, I actually entered your name into that prize draw as well. So Kylie, massive congratulations to you. Again, congratulations. I will touch base with you tomorrow because our next NLP training is kicking off this Saturday. So for those of you who are interested to learn more about NLP, basically this is the course details. So we offer the next training that we're doing is a live online format. So you can attend live from anywhere in the world. The course segments are run live on Zoom. So it's classroom format, it's fully live. There's myself, we've got assistant coaches, we've got a couple of people from different locations joining us. It's a triple certification program. So you walk away with 3 certificates at the end of the training. So you become an NLP practitioner, NLP coach, and practitioner of timeline therapy. The course is actually kicking off. The next one is kicking off this Saturday on the 1st of August. So the course runs over 3 consecutive weekends and kicks off on Saturday the 1st at 9 o'clock. Pretty much basically the course is valued at $5,000. The unique thing that we do that not many other people do is we actually offer, because we certify you as a coach, we also offer, we throw in a full day of what's called advanced coaching business principles. So we bring in another international business coach and he does a full day workshop where he actually teaches us how to build and scale and leverage a coaching business. And now it doesn't have to be a coaching business specifically because the same principles apply to multiple different industries. So we do a whole day of advanced business principles. So normally it's $500 for the whole day and we throw that in for free. We also throw in the 8-week life detox program, absolutely free. That's normally $300 worth of value. And then we also throw in 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with myself personally. So this full package it's over $5,000 worth of value. So if you are interested, if you're watching tonight, basically I'm going to do a one-off payment. I've taken it back to the early bird special. So I normally do the online version of the training for $2,500. Tonight, for the next 24 hours, I'll keep it open. So I'm doing the early bird special, which is 60% off. It's basically $1,997 for a one-off payment. If you are struggling financially, we've also got a payment plan available where you can do it for just $99 a week with a down payment of $495. So if you are interested and you would love to learn more about NLP, please reach out to me and I will answer any questions that you have. And if you've got any questions from tonight's webinar, I honestly hope that you truly found some value out of tonight. And if you did, I ask you to, let us know what was your biggest takeaway. What was your biggest takeaway from tonight and what can you go and implement straight away into your relationship, into your life, into your business? We'd love to hear from you. And again, for anyone that was watching tonight's webinar, whether you are live on the webinar or online, I'm more than happy to offer you guys a free coaching session if you've got any questions. So please feel free to reach out to me. And again, thank you so much for those of you who jumped on and joined me. And thanks for those of you who jumped on live as well. And thanks for your time tonight. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.